Toys and Games is the second class that we do.
Toys and Games. Lots of fun. Pardon me, I have a little bit of a cold, so they sniffling here. So, we talk about Toys and Games in this context. Settlers had very little leisure time. They, spent most of their days doing daily activities that they had to survive in order to make life happen. They had to harvest eggs from the chickens and milk the cows and whatnot. But when children did have leisure time, they did play some serious toys and games. Colonial America was host to some of the original toys and games that you see nowadays. So the different stations that we have in Toys and Games are, we have a pick up sticks, and sometimes we do marbles here. Then we also have a series of different wooden toys, like these Jacob's ladders, the only toy that children were allowed to play with on Sunday. These cup and balls, or Bilbo catchers, always a classic. I could never do them. We also have tops. In colonial times, they were known as whirly games. And we also have these guys, which were called whimsies. This one's a little broke, but toys like this were made by older children as a woodworking exercise. So even when they were having fun, they were sort of working and trying to learn something, survival technique that allowed them to live. And there's also a series of tongue twisters and riddles here that students can look at. I don't know if we have any here, but they're in riddles and tongue twisters. They're in small pieces of paper like this that the kids can read. And then the third station is the ever popular hoop racing station. These are barrel hoops, and these were used. These were taken from leftover barrels and used as toys. And I'm going to attempt to do it. I'm going to hurt myself. This is a good way to instruct the children is to demonstrate once. The stick goes on top of the rim, and it is struck forward, not down. You see a lot of kids kind of go like this, trying to bring it around the stick, but still this. As you can see, I'm not good at it.
You're great at it.
Let me try it again.
It's shocking.
All right, let's get a volunteer. Who wants to give it a shot? Here, come on down.
So
Prove me right that I'm not good at it.
The hoop relay races are usually in the hallway or outside in the spring.
There we go. Congratulations, good work. So those are the three main Toys and Games stations. Now, Toys and Games is a little bit different than spinning and weaving in the sense that these stations don't need to be manned or womaned as much as spinning and weaving. You will have parent volunteers who will stay there, but stations like the Toys and Whimsies and Jacob's ladders are, kids can self-regulate. They can go up there and play with the toys and share, and they have a lot of things to put their hands on. Same thing with the pickup sticks. The hoop is where you would station yourself because obviously we have a few moving parts here. We don't want anybody to hit the principal at the knees with the stick, and we want to make sure that we're not disturbing any of the classrooms because, like Eleni said, it happens in the hallway. Then, the last thing that happens in Toys and Games, and I don't know if we have any with us. Oh, do we have any blindfold with us?
No.
You can imagine that blindfold on. We play this great game called Blind Man's Bluff. And in Blind Man's Bluff, we do it different ways. When I've done Toys and Games, I've had everybody come together at the very end of the class. Everybody come from the stations. I don't know if you do it different ways. But typically everybody comes together at the end of working with the stations for a little while. Everybody gets a number, and they stand in a circle. You choose one number from the circle, they stand in the center of the circle, and they are blindfolded. And it's then your job as the teacher to call out the numbers of two different students. Those students have to cross the center of the circle while the blind man or woman tries to tag them. It's a lot of fun, and it sounds dangerous, but it's really not that bad. As long as you tell them not to punch anybody. And the kids have to cross. And if the blind man or woman tags one of the kids that is crossing, then that kid switches with the blind man or woman and they put the blindfold on. So that's a great way to sort of end the class, getting everybody together, playing together. But if you have a couple kids that sort of peel off, don't want to play, and they want to work with the toys a little bit more, that's fine.
And usually, it really depends on the parents and the teachers that you have. Sometimes you'll get teachers who literally just want to sit in a corner and not help at all. Sometimes you'll have teachers who want to run the class. go with whatever you think is the best for the class. It's so different per school. Last school we had 7 parents in a room who literally just wanted to talk to each other. So you had to like regulate. And do not be afraid as a teaching artist to quiet down the parents. Because they literally took off work to help their kids learn, and they sometimes don't get that they're not helping. So
I wanted to mention too that sometimes Toys and Games, when the weather gets nicer, is done typically outside. A lot of these workshops are done outside, so that's kind of nice. Sometimes when we're outside with Toys and Games, we also play hopscotch, we have some chalk, and things like that.
yeah, there should be 2 people most of the time on Toys and Games as a staff member, unless it's like Ike or I, and then we can basically run it. Having a watch is a good idea, so you don't have to check your cell phone to regulate the different stations, because Toys and Games, it's like 8 minutes, just like the weaving for the different stations. So if you're on hoops and it's been 8 minutes, it's good to know to like switch your class up. I also have a whistle in the boxes, so you can blow a whistle. I mean, it sounds a little crazy, but like, you know, it's good when you're outside and you're all over the place to blow a whistle and be like, okay, time to